Welcome to the East Baton Rouge Parish Library Grab and Go. Today we'll be doing May the 4th Be With You, Painted Rocks. And I will be painting Chewbacca like you see here. You will be receiving this handout with instructions inside and a bunch of templates. I gave you a bunch of other selections that you can choose. So here's some examples of different things that you can paint on your rock. Add some force to your Star Wars collection. Do something that doesn't require a lot of force or something that takes a little more skill. The choice is yours. Choose you must. All right, so some of the things that you're gonna need to do this are you're gonna need a rock. You're gonna need red, blue, yellow, black, and white paint, which I'll provide with you. You'll need a pencil, which I'll provide, a paintbrush, which I'll provide, a paper plate, a cup with water to rinse your paintbrush. You'll need a paper towel to dry your paintbrush. And you'll need paper or a paper plate to paint on. I'm gonna paint on a paper plate so that your work surface doesn't get covered in paint while you paint your rock and allow it to dry. Also included in your packet is a paint color mixing guide. I gave you just the basic paint colors, but those basic colors can be mixed to make any other paint color that you want besides gold and silver. But you can do orange instead of gold, or you could do gray instead of silver. That works too. Or yellow instead of gold. Those are some popular alternatives. And then after that, I have some directions on exactly how to do this. So let's get started. All right, so first things first, let's get our paint ready. All right, so what I did is I put my paint on one plate and I'm gonna mix my colors on a blank plate. Okay, it's good if you can draw on your rock first. So let's see, I have this kind of shape rock. I'm gonna do his eyes here. His nose here. His mouth. And his belt. All right, so when you're painting with acrylic paints, what you need to remember is that you start with the background, the things that are furthest from your view, and then you move to the foreground, the things that are closest to your view, and paint those last. So the thing that's furthest from my view when I'm painting Chewbacca is this brown color of his skin. And then these little bitty hairs that are sticking up in the tan color, those are closer to my eye, so I'll paint those next. And then a little closer is his eyes. His eyes are on top of his hair, so I'll paint those, and his nose next, and his mouth. And then on top of his hair after that is his belt. So I'll paint the black of the background of the belt. And then on top of that, I'll paint these little notches. So we start with the background and then we move to the foreground. Let's get started. So to get brown, we're gonna take some red and blue. And that'll give us a brown color. Need a little more red. And you just keep adding until you get the right color, until you're satisfied with the color that you've made. I want more of a yellowy brown, so I'm gonna add some yellow to the mix. I'm happy with that color, so I'm gonna start painting. I gave you little bitty paint brushes because they're little bitty rocks. Not that little, but little enough. I didn't mix enough paint, so let me make some more paint. Red, yellow, and blue were what I used to get this yellowy brown color. And it might take several layers of paint so that it looks less streaky. So you can let one layer dry and then move on to the next. Or you can get out your blow dryer that you use to dry your hair and dry the paint that way. It makes it much faster. Mix some more paints. Red, blue, and yellow. I'm just painting the entire background brown. If you wanted to remember what you had drawn, you can paint around the eyeballs so you can remember where you had wanted them to be placed. But I decided I didn't need to, so I didn't do that. All right, you know, I kind of like the streaky look. It looks like fur. Chewbacca is very furry, so I'm not gonna add another layer to this. The black in the background of the rock kind of gives a nice definition to the furriness of the brown. All right, next thing I'm gonna do is I've got this nice brown color here. I'm gonna add a little white so that I can get a tan. And this tan color is going to be the hair in the foreground. Add more yellow. So that's red, blue, yellow, and white. Okay, I added way too much white because that is just not, or is that, no, actually that's a good tan color. All right, red, yellow, blue, and white make the tan of the color of the foreground. So right around his eyes right here, it has a nice V shape. So I'm gonna make a V right here and then fur it out from there. And it kind of branches out from here, goes under like this, underneath the eyeballs. All right, and then over here it just kind of goes like this. And under his mouth we get this kind of pattern. Just straight up and down, little bitty strokes. And then his belt kind of has his fur going like little dashes to the side like this. And then over here we have some strokes like that. Over here, something like this. More of this here. All right. let's paint the eyes. So I'm gonna add a little more red and blue to make a darker tan. He's got like a dark tan rim around his eyeballs. So a little more red because that's too much blue. Okay. Now let's paint his eyes. They're kind of like two almond shapes. I want more red and blue in here. It's just not dark enough for me yet. Got a lot of red going there. Let's add some blue and mix it into that tan. All right, it's a good dark tan. So we got this almond shape here, and this almond shape here, kind of like a sideways 8. And those are his eyes, the rim of his eye. The inside of his eye is kind of like a light tan, a very light tan. So I'm gonna add some white, and I'm going to paint inside here a light tan. Add some water on my brush so it's kind of watery. Let me rinse off my brush and absorb some of that water. All right. And in the middle of that light tan, we've got black circles. See, it was watery here. Now the paint is running. I have way too much black circle going on there. So let me add some more white. It's a good thing with acrylic paint. You can, once it dries, you can correct your mistakes. I'm gonna have to fix that once it dries. My black is a little watery. Very watery. Okay, we'll come back to that. All right, let's do a black nose. We have a nose right here between the eyes. There's his nose. His mouth is just a solid, slightly curved white line, like so. And we've got some teeth right here on the edges. And 2 little teeth in here. All right, now for the black belts. It goes across the body like so. It's a thick, heavy-duty belt, so I'm making my belt a little thicker. All right. Now we have some white dashes. Uh-oh. Running paint. Let me rinse my brush and absorb some of the water we have running here. That's what this paper towel is good for. Sometimes our paint is runny or the brush has too much water on it. And that when painting a rock, it's an uneven surface, so you're gonna see the water running off of it. And in the middle of, we have this brown color here, we have a brown dot. That didn't work. Oops, too much water. And sometimes you can just take your paper towel and place it on there and absorb. Now let me touch up. Alright, and the final step would be adding those brown dots in between these white things and a white dot in the middle of the eye to show the reflection of the sun on the eyeball. And you want them kind of in the same place on either eye. Let me touch up his eye. And there we have Chewbacca. I hope you've enjoyed this program. Thank you.